Yo, what's good, everybody? It is your man B Vaughn here on We Create Music TV. Welcome to another interview segment. I'm excited tonight because I have my girl back, Desarae Dee, pianist, multi-instrumentalist, music producer. Y'all give a warm welcome to Desarae Dee. What's up?
Not much. I am glad to be back on this
Yes.
platform.
Oh no, there's a lot that's been up.
Yeah.
there's, there's a lot that's been up, which we're going to get into tonight. And so
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear about, because we did this interview about a year
Weird.
ago. Actually, it's about a year ago. I think I looked early and it said 1 year ago. I was like, oh wow. So I'm sure, and from the things I've seen, there's a lot of things that have progressed in this year. And so I'm
Yeah.
interested in finding out. I do want to say right off the bat, and you don't need me to say it, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I'm proud of you. You've been out there
Oh,
killing it,
thank you.
And so we're gonna get into all of that. Let everybody know exactly what's been going on in your world. And so, yeah, I mean, if you want to introduce yourself, for those who don't know you, there's going to be a link somewhere in one of these corners to
Yeah.
your other interview that we did, so they can go back and get to know you from the first interview that we did together. But sure, let me turn it over to you for you to say whatever you want to say.
Okay, awesome. So my name is Desarae Dee. I am from Toronto, Canada. I am a fusion instrumental artist. I am a producer, content creator, educator. I wear lots of hats. I do lots of things music wise. Yeah, that's pretty much
Yeah,
me. Trailblazer,
trailblazer.
uh, pioneer, you know, setting the foundation for, other women that look like me who
Mm-hmm.
want to, embark on this path that I've been embarking on for the last 8 years.
Mm.
Uh, I celebrated my 7-year artist anniversary last year in November. So, and I did that by releasing 7 singles
mm.
to close out a cycle of 7.
Wow.
So it was just a combination of just everything that I went through in my career and in my life over the last 7 years. So I said, you know what, I'm closing out 7 years. Let's just give the people, music. I released
Mm-hmm.
my very first official music video last year as
I
well
saw.
too. So there will
Yes.
be more of those to come this year,
Mm-hmm.
but I figured, I haven't really done a official music video, so I said, you know what, let me do it, and I just so happened to do it with a song that I released 6 years ago, and it was celebrating the anniversary of it, and I said, you know what, I'm gonna do a remake of
Ah,
it and give the people a music video.
that's right. That's
Yeah,
that's that's awesome. So okay, so 7 years, right? So you started in 2014, if I
yes.
remember correctly, and that was your foray into this whole music world, right? So putting out 7 singles, was that? Now I'm sure that wasn't throughout the entire year, was it? Or was it the culmination at the end of a year that you put out the 7 singles?
So for the year of 2021, I put out a total of 7 singles. So I started in February. I released February, March, April, May, June. The music video came out in July. Then
Mm,
I took a break, August and September. Well, not even really a break. I just really had a rough time
mm,
in August and September. So I needed to take a step back for a little bit.
right.
And I came back in October and November with 2 singles.
Mm. Yeah, I don't, that's right. Look, that's dedication to your craft when you are working and putting out music consistently like that. So most people, they just come out with a single, they drop an EP, and then that's until the next EP or the next single, right? But you kind of took like I don't want to say like a Russ approach, right? Because Russ, I think he did like 52 songs, something like
Right.
that. But it is being consistent with your music and putting your music out there. Because in this vast world of music creators, people need to hear from music creators, right? We are looking for music to listen to and to consume. And so if we're as music creators aren't putting out work, then it's like, oh, okay, well, time to go into somebody else. And so I applaud that you were consistent in putting out content and putting out that work and dropping a video. I need to do a video somewhere, a music video. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do one. No, I
You
don't have any
should. Yeah.
songs. I don't have any songs to do one, but I'm I'm gonna
You're
make a
gonna have to get
song.
some songs
I'm gonna make a
together.
song.
We're
No, right. That's right. You said something interesting when you first started off, and it's a question that I have here that I wrote down, and it says that in your bio you mentioned it says, well, how I wrote it is that you indicated that you never saw yourself represented in the Canadian music industry, and I wanted to know how come. Like, what was your perspective, and what did you see that kind of led you to that perspective?
Well, the main thing was I didn't really see any Black women instrumentalists, musicians at that in Canada, not just in the industry, but also in the gospel music community, in the church community as well. Growing up, I would often go to different churches, visit different churches, and a majority of their musicians were males. And as somebody who grew up in church, learning how to play the piano, learning how to play by ear, and also playing in church, I would often question how come there's no women who are behind the instruments? Why is it always the men that are, playing the instruments? But, the
Mm,
stigma in the Black community and in the church is that women are only capable of being behind the mic, and
mm,
that's where they belong, and no, they can't do anything else. So I just I wanted to change that, and as somebody who was fortunate enough to have the opportunity in my church to, be part of the ministry and to grow as a musician, I wanted to see something different. So
mm.
not just in the church realm, but also in the industry in
Right.
Canada. It's not every day that you hear about a Black woman who's an instrumental artist in this country.
Mm,
Most people who are instrumentalists are predominantly male, white males at that. And then, you have some Black males as well who are in the industry, but never any females because, according to, popular belief, Black women are known for singing and
right.
for using their voice and not for playing instruments. So I remember when I first came out on the scene after hiding for 24 years, that people were shocked. They were like, oh, whoa, where did she come from? I've never seen a Black woman play an instrument before, or I've never seen a Black woman go in this direction of wanting to be an instrumentalist. So people were intrigued, people were interested, people wanted to, see what was, I guess, going to happen.
Mm,
Uh, but not only was I trying to change the way that people saw Black women in the
right.
industry as musicians, I also was fought with, opposition and
Mm, mm-hmm.
obstacles and challenges, right? Not only for the color of my skin and the fact that I'm a woman and I have to work harder than everybody else, but also just trying to get my music heard in Canada. Everybody is so lyric happy, and we
Right.
want to hear the sing. We want to hear what you're saying. We want to hear the lyrics. We want to hear this. That's totally fine. I have no problem with that. And shout out to
Mm-hmm.
all the rappers and the vocalists out there who are doing their thing and telling their stories using lyrics. I just prefer to tell my story using the melodies that I create in my music. So whether that's on the keys, whether that's using synth patches, whether that's using drum beats, using bass and guitar lines and whatnot, my story lies within the music. So even though I'm not using lyrics to share my story is prevalent in the music that I create.
That's right. And that's interesting. A couple of things that you said in there was, if I can clarify some of those, is that, it's pretty much the same way in the U.S. too, is that they put you in especially being a Black female artist, they kind of want you to be in a box, and you can't usually step outside of that box to get into those other areas. I do know, and you're right, there are not many instrumentalists, female instrumentalists in the industry, at least from what I've seen. A lot of them are rappers, singers. But I do know one specifically that is a drummer, and that's how she started off as a drummer. But she's a rapper, singer too, but not just purely an instrumentalist. But I think that's prevalent in almost any industry that we find ourselves in, at least for a perspective from womanhood, is they try to put you into this category, into this box, and say that you only can fit here, which I think is doing a disservice and a injustice to women everywhere, because they have so many gifts, so many talents, and like, who are you to put me in a box and say that I can only do this, or this is what I should do? You know, my gifts, in this case, your gifts and your talents can take you anywhere, and you can do anything that you want to do, right? And so I love the fact that you didn't allow those people, those naysayers, those negative people, those perspectives to kind of stop you from doing what you wanted to do, and for you trailblazing and leading the path that you're on. Um, but yeah, I think you're right. There's not a lot of female instrumentalists. I was surprised to start seeing females like mix engineers. I was like, what? Because it was just like that was like where what men did, right? Quote unquote, men did. Men mixed records, but then you look back and you go, oh. Like there's a woman here named Kesha Lee, Kay Lee. She's won Grammys and all types of stuff, but she's a phenomenal mix engineer, and they're out there. I think we just, as you said, we kind of put them in that box in that situation, so which is unfair, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go back because even though you didn't say it, it kind of was something you were alluding to in your introduction, where I saw that you were labeled the Toronto Queen of Vibes. So how did that come? How did that come about? How did that label, that moniker, come about, being the Toronto Queen of Vibes?
You know what? I have gotten many names over the last 8 years by lots of people. And I think it's just because of my overall vibe when I'm posting content on social media. I've been called the queen of the keys and stuff like that, but I'm sure there's a lot of women out there who probably use that as their username. So I don't know. Somebody just, I guess, commented on one of my videos and said, "Yo, you're so vibey. This is a vibe."
Mm.
And then I remember doing a workshop with one of the local organizations out here. It's called Soundcheck Youth, and it's a Black-run organization. And they invited
Nice.
me on to do a session. And the person who put together the, I guess, the introduction labeled me the Queen of Vibes. So I was like, oh,
Oh.
okay, I'm gonna take this and
Mm.
run with this. To the point where now it's like people, when they see me, oh, it's the Queen of Vibes, or
Hold on, let
people
me go
still
back.
call me the
Hold,
Queen,
hold,
but
hold on, let me go back and do your intro. Wait. That's right, the Queen of Vibes. I mean, but that's, when you think of even a name like that, that's placing you in a position that of authority, a position of influence that you have with the skills that you bring to the table. And for people who don't know, like, go back and watch the last interview. She was killing them keys, right? That's like, if you want to be called the Queen of Keys, great. But she was killing them keys. And so y'all go back and make sure you watch that. But when you think of that, that's a positional authority perspective.
yeah,
And so people are looking to you as not just from the music that you make, and I'm sure it's not, but I'm sure it's because of the influence that you have within the community, within your network of other music creatives, also. Yeah, the Queen of Vibes. So that's right. You're gonna have to get a shirt. It says like the Queen of Vibes and a jacket. So when you walk in, you're
I
like,
know, but I mean, for now, I'm just gonna stick with my logo here.
oh, that's right. Desarae Dee logo. That's
Yeah.
right. So speaking of
Eventually,
that, say that again.
eventually, I'll probably, when I'm thinking of my next idea for my merch. Maybe I
Right.
might just.
So speaking of that, I'm glad you talked about that because that's a question that I have here. Is that since it's been a year since we had a conversation the last time, I've seen that you've been very, very busy with branding and with marketing
Yeah.
yourself. So, can you talk a little bit about your strategy and how you framed your brand and how you framed your marketing? Because I'm sure other people are interested in how you really did that for you. Because you started, I want to take it away from you, but I started seeing you everywhere in blogs and all types of things on different websites, which we'll talk about in a moment. And it's like, so how did all that stuff work out, and what was your strategy towards that?
Okay, so you know what? When I first started, I didn't really have a strategy. I'm just gonna be honest. I really didn't. I just wanted to stand out. That was the goal, for whether that was marketing myself, whether that was posting videos, whether that was creating some sort of logo that would, describe me as an artist, as all the hats that I wear, something that made me stand out. And because I kind of already stood out being a black woman who plays instruments and is an instrumental artist, I already stood out in that regard. But also, I just wanted my overall brand to stand out as well too. So that was coming up with a logo that embodied the Desarae Dee music brand. And I knew that after 5, 6, 7 years of doing this, that I needed to, rebrand myself.
Mm,
Right. I had a logo a while ago that I was using, but at the time when I had management was like, no, it's time for you to upgrade that logo now. So I reached out to a friend of mine. Her name is Josie Lacorte, and she's a graphic designer out here. And I said, listen, I'm looking to rebrand myself. I'm looking to get a logo that stands out but also embodies who I am as an artist. So
mm,
process took a little bit of time just because I'm very picky, and that's just who I am, and I'm proud of it. I'm proud of being picky.
right.
Some people aren't, but I am. So I just wanted it to be I wanted it to be right. I
Mm,
wanted to make sure that it truly embodied who I was as an artist, as a musician. And the concept was, you have Desiree D, you have the two D's, and then you have the keys, which most people thought was something else. But once I, explained to them, no, it's actually a keyboard. They're like, oh, okay, I get it, I get it.
mm.
And then the finishing touch on it was adding the outline of my face. So I had
Ah.
used a photo from, I think, maybe 2014 or 2015, and my graphic designer decided to take like a silhouette and then put it, you know, as a part of the logo. So
Mm-hmm.
now when you have the logo, you can see the outline of the face there,
Ah.
and then you have the keys, right? And then the
That's
two D's
right.
to represent Desiree D. So when she finally came back to me with the finished product, I was like, oh my goodness, this is it.
Mm.
This is it. So I had a whole branding package, and she gave me the highlights for Instagram.
Okay.
And then I also had like a launch graphic.
Mm.
So once I put that out, people went crazy. They're like, yo, this logo is dope. Like, who made your logo? Yada, 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 yada. And then aside from that, I've always wanted to put out merchandise. Merchandise was something that I've been wanting to do for a really long time. Just
Mm-hmm.
never had the direction for that. Never had the means, I guess. And I think at some point I just didn't believe in myself fully that I could get it done,
Mm.
because finances has always been an issue of mine.
That
But
mine too.
one day I was like, no, I'm just gonna take the leap of faith and just do it, because I know it's something that I want to do, and I know that God will bless me in whatever way He
Mm-hmm.
needs to, so that I'm able to do it. So one day, one of my friends who had recently started his own line called God is Good, and he had brought over a shirt for me. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so nice of you. And I said, who did the design? He said, yeah, I did it myself, me and my wife. And I said, oh, you guys do printing now? He's like, yeah, we have the machine. We have the machine at home. So we do all of our designing, we do all of our printing. And I had mentioned to him that day that, I was looking to get my merchandise line started, and I have my logo, and I had a couple ideas, and he said, you know what, send it to me. And I said, you sure? He's like, yeah, no, send it to me. So I sent him the logo, sent him my ideas that I wanted for the shirt. So it was my logo in the front of the middle, and then on the back, it would have my name and my tagline, which is inspiring lives one music note at a time. So I think after maybe 3 days or 4 days, he came back to my house and dropped it off. And when I opened that package, I was only expecting one shirt. He sent me 3 shirts.
Oh.
3 shirts. So one was black and white, and then he sent me another shirt that was gold. Now the gold, I was not even expecting the gold, but I was just so fascinated by the gold. And I was like, oh my God, this is so. He also sent me masks as well, because we're still in COVID-19 season. Sent me masks, and he also sent me some other stuff too. And it was just the fact that he went out of his way to do that, just for me to see, like, oh my goodness, this is possible. Now I have a connection here where now I can get more merchandise out, because now I have somebody who's already doing it, who lives 10 minutes from my house.
That's right.
So from there, I came out, I did like a mock trial type deal, and I did like a little mini photo shoot in the beginning. And I said, okay, I bought 35 shirts, and I said, let me see if I can sell all 35 of these shirts. Soon as that picture went up, within maybe a month, all of my shirts were gone. And I was like, wow, okay, I can really do this. So then I did a real photo shoot with a friend of mine, and I got more colors in. So I did like blue, and gray, and red, and yellow, and all those, summery colors. And I asked a couple of my friends to be a part of the photo shoot, and we did some shots, and the shots came out amazing. And I put them up, and I said, here's the official launch of Desarae Dee merchandise, and people have been buying things. People have been, supporting, and people have commented on the logo, how unique and how different and how it stands out.
Right.
And that has been, me just pushing that brand. And, I recently just released the crewnecks. So now you can get crewnecks. Now everybody is asking, oh, I want a crewneck. But now everybody's like, so where's the hoodies? I'm like, well, we're kind of out of hoodie season. So
hey, look, they ready. They're getting ready.
We'll wait for that. We'll wait until, the fall to release the hoodies. But now I'm thinking about what I can do next. Like, I just started experimenting with plaid. So, like, got a couple of plaid shirts and, adding the logo to plaid. And I'm like, ooh, this is nice. This is nice. But yeah, a lot of it has just been, taking the leap of faith and, trusting the process and just doing things scared. And sometimes you have to do things scared, because sometimes God's waiting for us to, make the move.
That's right. Y'all know I needed that. Y'all needed to hear that. My wife be saying the same thing to me. I used to have a pastor, so they were a pastor team. They were married, and they were a pastor team at the church. But the female pastor would get up and say, there was one sermon, I remember her saying this. She was like, sometimes you got to do it afraid. And I was like, ooh, do it afraid, right? She's like, you're not going to have all the pieces. You're not going to have everything in the works that you would like. She said, so step out on faith and do it afraid. I was like, I need that right there. Do it afraid. And sometimes you need that. Sometimes it is fear is a big demotivator. Sometimes fear is a great motivator for others. Sometimes it's a demotivator for others. And it's like, oh, I'm scared to do this because for whatever those reasons may be. It's like, do I step out and do I do it? What if it fails? It's like, oh, I don't know. But, I always say no risk, no reward. You don't step out and do it. I don't always say that. Let me give the credit to where credit is due. It came from a martial arts movie. And in the movie, the bad guy will always say, no risk, no reward. And so I didn't make it up, but but it's very applicable, right? So no risk, no reward. If you don't step out on faith and do it, it's not going to get done. But yeah. So I think that's important. I don't know many artists that have a logo.
Neither do I.
I don't know many music creators that have a logo. I know companies that have a logo. I mean, they're a company. Like I got a logo for We Create Music TV, which is boom right there. Right, I got a
Yeah.
logo for my main company, Magnum Opus. I got logos for that. I got a website. I don't know many artists that have a website. You
I'm
know,
working on that's the next step for me. I'm working on that. Right now I'm using a beacons page, which kind of lists like the main links
that's
to
yeah, but
my articles and whatnot. But I'm really
right.
like this year I'm working towards actually having a website
Mm-hmm.
put together.
That's
So
right.
that's the next. But everything in its timing and everything, just taking
That's
one thing
right.
at a time and not everything at once. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
next step.
Yeah, because I always tell people, I said there has to be a place that is central for you as a music creative. Your Instagram, your Facebook, your whatever is not your main space for you because as Instagram, and I remember specifically, I was trying to find something about an artist, and this artist was like, "Yeah, I just put everything on my Instagram," and I was like, "Well, why do you do that? Like, that's not where you put." He's like, "Because most people that I know that are around my age group check Instagram. That's where they go to," and I said, "That may be the case." I said, "But those people aren't going to really do anything for you." And I said, "It's the older people." It's crazy. I'm like, "It's the older people that
Yeah,
are looking for a website because
that's
on the
true.
website you can have all your merch, you can have all your, you can have your EPK on your website, you can have your music on your website for people to listen to, you can have a special access area that you give people access to, or whatever it may. You can do so many things on your own website because if Instagram, Facebook, and all those places go down, where are people going to go? They can't find you. And it's like, oh, how do I know what's going on? Yes. So I will always say, and of course, you already been thinking about that, is getting that website. But branding is part of the process, and it is about ensuring that there's consistency in how you're presenting yourself. And so, you're talking about you having the logos, you're talking about you having soon to be the website, and all of those things are gelling together, right? So you got the T-shirts, and all those things are gelling together. So when people think about Desiree D, and even just they just see your logo, they have a connection. Oh, that's Desiree D. I know what she stands for because I can tell whether it's through her presentation, through her music, through her deliverables, whatever those things may be. There's a recognition that comes with it, and I wish a lot of artists would understand that they are interested in branding, I think, but a lot of sometimes don't want to do the branding type stuff
Yeah,
or the marketing
yeah.
type stuff. So that's something I do want to talk about, and I don't know if it stemmed from you refocusing on your brand as a whole. Uh, but all of a sudden, I'm starting. You're in tons of music blogs and tons of like indie magazines and websites and stuff. Like, so how did that come? Did that come about when you made the shift with your logo and your branding?
Um, yes and no. You know what? I started doing more research on how I could get on more blogs.
Hmm.
And it's funny because there was a company that reached out to me called MusoSoup. And, well, actually, not MusoSoup, but it was a company from like France or something like that. And in their links that they sent me, there was this website called MusoSoup. Now, MusoSoup is a website where you can submit your music for blog placements, playlisting, and you pay a fee and you can submit your music, and I guess blog writers and playlist leads can check out your music, and then they can make you offers. So those offers could be getting a music blog write up, or they're adding you to one of their exclusive playlists, or even getting radio play. So found out about that website, and it was last year I started using it for my first single that I released in February. And it was from there where I was getting a lot
Mm.
of traction. and I was getting a lot of traction overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Overseas. And the more blog write-ups I got, a lot of other blogs were interested in me as well too. And so like Buzz Music has always been writing about me
Mm.
since 2020. Like they're basically family at this point.
Wow,
So they're
nice.
always excited to, write about me and, have me promote my music with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I already have like a lifelong bond with them regardless, which is nice
That
because,
is
I've gone to so many times, right, for new releases. And the more of those blogs that I got, I ended up getting uh, contacted by a company called Radio Pushers. So I'm not sure if you're
radio
familiar
pushers.
with Radio
I
Pushers.
am. I'm familiar with radio pushers. Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
I,
so one of their reps reached out to me and they're like, "Yeah, we've been checking you out. We'd love for you to be a part of our brand, blah 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 blah." So I said,
mm-hmm.
"Okay, sure, let me check them out." So I think at the time I was releasing Love and Found, which I released in April, and I submitted, and they were, putting me on their radio stations already, which was really shocking to me because a lot of these radio stations don't like to play instrumental music. Let's just
Right.
be honest,
Right.
right? A lot of these mainstream radio stations refuse to play instrumental music because it doesn't have lyrics. Or sometimes the radio stations think that, oh, the music is too experimental, and I'm like, my music is not experimental; it's fusion. Let's be clear with that. Or it's just not fitting for their brand, or it's not fitting for whatever music that they are playing on the station. So when they told me, yeah, we're placing your song on their two radio stations, I believe it was Power 102. Uh, 0.1 in Toronto and then Power 106.8 in Miami. And they were literally playing my song 2 times a day, every single day. And that's never happened to me
Wow.
before. Never gotten that. So I said, okay. So I kept sending them my stuff. And that turned into, multiple radio interviews with them. And then from there, I ended up getting placed on their main radio station, the Blaze 88.7 XM Miami on iHeart Radio. So imagine working with
Yeah.
this company for less than a year at that point, and already getting placed on their top radio station on iHeartRadio. So I
Yeah.
have about 3 of my songs right now on iHeartRadio, plus I have them in their like 3 main stations, so Toronto, Miami, and Los Angeles. So my songs are still streaming. Plus I'm on their Apple Music playlist
Mm.
and some other playlists that they have. Literally to the point where the CEO was so impressed by my social media presence and my music, where he then offered me a position
Mm-hmm.
to be the digital operations director for the company. So essentially, I'd be, doing artist outreach and like for social media, and then also working with the Monday board, Monday.com. So they have like
Okay.
different boards where they,
Mm-hmm.
I guess they gather information for different artists from across the country, across the world, who are on Instagram, and it's a way of engagement. So engagement is something that is a priority for the company. So getting real organic engagement on your page and having the opportunity to connect with different artists on their network. And I love the Monday app. To be honest with you, it's great. I mean, I've seen an increase in my numbers as well too. But I just love the fact that they're focused on real organic followers, real organic engagement. So it's not these bots that people are paying for just to get
I hate
100,000
bots.
followers, right? It's actual real people that you're connecting with. And it was really nice that he saw that in me, because this is a part of my journey that I never saw. I
Mm-hmm.
didn't think that I'd be part of a company working so closely with their artists on social media, and just building that brand part of the company, to now where he's trying to now extend his I guess this brand into Canada now
Wow.
via me.
Hey, that's awesome.
Right? So a lot has transpired due to my presence on social media, due to my
Mm,
rebranding, due to, really putting myself out there with music blogs and, getting recognized on blogs in Canada. It took a long time. But as I always say, and as the scripture says in the Bible, that a man is not regarded in his own home.
mm,
So I
mm.
had to take that leap of faith many years ago outside of my comfort zone to be seen. And it's sad that it has to be like that, but I
Yeah,
mean,
I know.
the word of God says it.
All right.
So if
That's
we
right.
if we imagine if we just relied solely on our home to get us anywhere, it wouldn't get us anywhere. And
Right.
sometimes we have to be willing to step out of our home, step out of our zone of comfort to
Mm-hmm.
be seen and to be recognized and to move forward into our purpose. If we, just stayed stagnant at home because we let fear cripple us, fear is
Right.
very crippling. And sometimes because we don't know what's going to happen and we have this fear of the unknown, that
Mm-hmm.
we get so stuck in this box and, oh, home is comfortable, but, I have some supporters here. But I'm like, imagine how much more support you could get. Imagine how much more further in your purpose you could get if you stepped outside of where your comfort
That's right.
is.
That's right. One of the things that I teach uh, kind of speaks to that. And so when I'm teaching this particular concept, I usually draw three circles. I have a circle here, and then a circle around that circle, and then another circle around that circle, and uh, then I label those three circles, and then I label one called the panic zone, which is when you're in this particular zone and you're just way over your head and you don't know what you're doing, so you're freaking out and you're like, "What do I do?" And I don't know how to do it, and everything is just like chaotic. And then there's one circle called the comfort zone, which a lot of people find themselves in, which is that this feels good. I'm at ease with this. I'm good with this. I don't have to step outside of this in order to. It's not uh, threatening, my comfort in this comfort zone. And then there's another zone called the productive discomfort zone, which doesn't feel too good, but you're being productive. You're stretching yourself to accomplish the things that you want to accomplish. But it doesn't feel good. It's growing you and it's developing you and it's helping you to achieve your overall goals. And a lot of people don't like to step into that productive discomfort zone because of those things. It is going to push you, and kind of like for yourself, you stepped out of that and into that productive discomfort zone to achieve the things that you truly wanted to achieve. And kudos for that, because not a lot of people move from comfort to productive discomfort zone, and that's when you truly find what you really want is in that particular zone. But anyway, I don't feel like look. I'm up here teaching, but but yeah, it is the productive discomfort zone. I was actually debating if I wanted to share my story about radio pushers. I will only share it if you want to hear it. If, if you
Well, what
if
kind of
if
story is it?
if you
Is it
don't,
a positive story or
then
is it a negative story?
no.
It's a negative story.
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh
Well,
yeah. Let's
let's discuss
let
that in
let's let's
private.
talk about that later, me and you,
Yeah,
because maybe some
yeah,
things changed since the when I was introduced to them back in the day. But
right.
what I am glad to hear, regardless of what my experience may have been, that it is an experience that is enjoyable for you and that is helping you to achieve what you want to achieve, and that there are other people that you are seeing have success in that arena as well with that organization. So, I don't want to put any negative shine on that, because one person's experience can kind of lead people astray, and sometimes my experience may have been caused by whatever circumstances may have been out there. But uh, I did see that. I was like, oh, look at that, digital operations director for radio push. I know that's like, wow, that's once again, that goes back to your brand. It goes back to the authority that people see that you have, or the influence that others see that you have, and they gravitate toward that, and they want to have you be a part of what they're doing, and for you to be a part of what I'm gonna make sure I say that right. For you to be a part of what they're doing, and vice versa. I'll say it that way. That way I don't get it
Yeah.
all jumbled up. Um, but yeah, I think that's something that's interesting because I have that as a question is like how, and I think you started to answer it because a lot of people want to be on the radio and they want their songs on the radio, right? And it's like, how do I get my songs on the radio, and what strategies do I use to get my songs on the radio? And I don't know if you want to talk a little bit more about that. I know I'm interested. There was something that I used in the past that kind of helped me get some songs on the radio, and it did kind of talk about what you just said. You got to sometimes leave your own home to find love in other areas, right? You're not regarded in your own home. Um, did all of those radio plays come through radio pushers?
No, the radio plays that I got um were prior to radio
Ah,
pushers.
not
Yeah.
okay.
So a few of them were through MusoSoup, which is what I was using. And also radio stations reached out to me,
That's now
right?
that's
So
good
I
right
have
there.
on Gospel Grind Radio, uh,
Mm,
Groove Radio Detroit, The Star Radio, Soul Beats in the Netherlands, Extreme Exposure Radio. They all reached out to me.
mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm,
it wasn't a matter of me like doing my research, which I did, right?
right.
But for me, I was aiming for some of these bigger guns, especially out
Mm,
here in Canada. And one of my goals was to have one of my songs played on a national radio station. So out here in Canada, we have a few. Our main one is CBC Radio.
CBC.
Yeah. It's always been my
I'm familiar
dream
with them.
to
Right.
have one of my played on that radio station. And I will tell you the story of how I got one of my songs played on CBC Radio.
Yes. Tell
So
us.
there was a program called The Block by CBC. Now, this program started in 2021, and its aim was to play music by Black people. So, Black artists. That was the goal, right? And of course, it was spearheaded by a Black woman. And I loved that they were doing that. They're supporting Toronto, Canadian talent, but it was by Black people. So I thought to myself, at the time I had been working on the Late Arrival remix. And that was the song that I knew had the potential to blow up. And I knew that the quality that I had produced with that song was international or national radio ready. So I sent it off about 2 weeks after I released it. Sent an email in. I said, my name is Desarae Dee, and I'm an instrumental fusion artist from Toronto, Canada, and I'm submitting my song. So I believe it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks after I had sent the email, because they were getting a lot of emails at the time.
I'm
So
sure they do.
it was busy. And I got a response. I never expected a response back because most times these radio stations do not respond back to you. But I got a response back, and the response said verbatim, "We love this song. It is so dope, but we
Mm,
don't play instrumental music on our program." Now, that is something I hear all the time. So this is
mm,
nothing new. I hear this all the time. So normally I wouldn't even respond back to the email. I would just kind of be defeated and just be like, okay, they're not going to
mm.
play my song, whatever. But something in me said, Desarae, respond to the email. Because I literally was going to leave the email and not respond back. But mine says, Desarae, respond to the email. So I responded back and I say verbatim, that's too bad. Because, instrumental music is on the rise right now. And I'm hoping that there's a way for you guys to incorporate it in your program. And I left it at that. So September came along, and I was just about to head off to Vancouver for my birthday. And literally 3 weeks before my birthday, I got a notification on Instagram from The Block by CBC. And I thought, why are they tagging me? That's weird. All right. So I went to the tagged post. Lo and behold, I saw a picture of myself with Desarae Dee, Late Arrival, playing Tuesday, September the 8th, 2021 at 7 p.m. on CBC Radio. And I think of that moment and I thought to myself, wow, imagine if I did not respond to that email.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Imagine if I allowed fear to cripple me and, you know, the amount of rejections I've gotten just to continue. But it was like, no, this is a dream of mine and I'm going to do whatever it takes to ensure that that dream comes true. So I responded to that email, and I'm so glad I responded to that email because my song got played on the radio. And to put the icing on the cake, they played it in the last 5 minutes of the program.
Huh. Hey.
So imagine that. From
Right.
being told we don't play instrumental music
Right.
to being what they save the best for last.
That's right. That's right. See, look. You know, most people say, "Look at God," but yeah, I mean that's but that is awesome. Well, I just love the fact that you responded back because sometimes most people just won't, as you stated, they won't respond back and they'll just leave it as is. Oh, that door is closed. But sometimes not the door is not. It's not that the door is closed. They just want to, and it's so weird because in organizations we do that, right? And so I'll kind of give you an example, and you may have seen this, or maybe have heard somebody gone through this type of situation. So let's say I have a job opening, and I have candidates who apply for the job. And so I'm giving y'all some inside knowledge if y'all do work at organizations, right? And you are going for a position. I'm telling you what they do because I teach it to other people. Two, I'm in a leadership role at an organization. So let me just tell you, right? So I got a job opening. I'm hiring people for the job, and I get some good candidates. I get some great candidates. But let's say there's one candidate that, you know, is great, but that's not the person that we're looking at. In our head, it's not that we're not looking at them. A lot of times it's people want to see how you handle certain situations, how you handle rejection, how you handle when somebody tells you no. And a lot of times it's not so much about you're not qualified for the job. Because part of growth and development is ensuring that you know how to handle situations well. And so sometimes they'll tell you no, not so that you can be disgruntled and leave and then go off and be like, well, I hate that job. That manager's stupid. They don't know. They talk about, man, F that organization, blah, 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 right? A lot of times it's not that. A lot of times we want to see how you're going to respond back. And it's kind of what you just said. That's too bad. You know, this is on the rise, and, you know, you probably miss out on great music if you don't include it, right? But a lot of times we want to see how the person responds if they are mature enough to move to that next level. Right, I'm giving y'all game from an organizational perspective, right? But it's applicable to music too. Because sometimes a lot of no's that you hear are not no's. They just want to see what you're going to do in that next step. Are you just going to just let it go? And it's like, wow, okay. Well, I guess they weren't really, really serious about what they wanted to do because they got shook by one no. Okay, let's move on then. So yeah.
I mean, the way I see it is many no's will be a yes.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I had a guy on the I had a guy on the show, Teddy Richards, and Teddy he shared the story when he was younger, looking to get a job, and he was trying to get a paper route, and he called the lady back at the paper newspaper company several times. And at the end, she was like, okay, I get it. This is going to continue, right? He was like, yes, ma'am. She's like, okay, good. I'll give you the job just so you don't have to keep calling up here. But he got the job. He was persistent, right? He was confident in his own abilities to do the job, and he was persistent. Like nobody can get shaken just by one no, because you're going to get them no's, right? Yeah. But yeah, beautiful story, and how it ended up on the radio, CBC. And CBC is huge in Canada, and so they did a fantastic. That was a fantastic story for anybody who's wanting to do that type of thing, whether it's radio, whether it's a magazine, a blog, or whatever it is. Don't take the first no as the actual no. So,
Yeah.
but yes, good stuff. So let's talk about day to day.
Yes. Let's talk about
Yes,
it.
let's talk about day to day. Um, what was the inspiration behind this single, Day to Day? Because I believe you
Okay.
just when did you release Day to Day?
November
In
19th,
November,
2020.
right? Yep.
Yeah.
Um, now, okay, take me back. Has another single come out before after that?
No,
Okay,
I
good. I want to make
tried
sure I'm not
to,
missing it.
but can I go back? I might have to
Sure.
go back a little bit so you can you can understand how, you know,
Mm-hmm.
that day to day came about.
Yes,
So,
please.
I don't know if people really and truly, pay attention to, my story, because 2021 was me officially telling my story through those 7 songs that I put out. So let's go from the beginning. February. What song did I release in February? Take a Step, right? Yeah. No, sorry. Change is good. And now my story extends 7 years, right? And, it was a way for me to kind of explain my story through these 7 songs. Now, having to go through what I went through in the 7 years, plus having to deal with a pandemic, changes your thinking on how you release your music. Now, I thought, this is a perfect time for people to kind of get, a synopsis of, my life and my a little bit of my story. So I released Change is Good. Now, Change is Good was a song that encouraged people to be okay with the changes that were happening in the world. We are going through a COVID-19 pandemic, which hit the world in 2020. And, there's been so many changes around us, whether through this pandemic and whether in our own personal lives. And we have to be open to the changes that are happening. In March, I released Take a Step. Sometimes taking the first step towards your purpose is the scariest, but if you don't take it, you're not going to go anywhere. So that was, a part of my story, finally deciding to take the step into the music realm after hiding for so many years and making that first step. That was my story of how I got started. Love and Found. Now, during the pandemic, I heard so many stories of people traveling when they're not supposed to be traveling to meet their significant others, right? And to forge these, well, not even forge, but to, cultivate these relationships. I've heard so many people getting married during the pandemic, when things were shutting down. And in my own personal life, I've struggled in the love department of it. And, I've given up multiple times, but those stories inspired me to not give up, and that my future partner is out there somewhere waiting for me. So that was the story behind that song. In May, I released Triumph. Now,
Mm.
obstacles and setbacks in my career, but I never there was never a time that I didn't celebrate the small wins. A lot of times people celebrate the big wins and think that the
Mm-hmm.
big wins are the best wins, when really it's the small wins that are the best wins. And it's the small wins that propel the big wins.
That's
Even
right.
as much as getting up in the morning is a win, most people do not get up in the morning, especially during this COVID-19 pandemic where we've lost
Mm-hmm.
over 4 million people in this entire world. And it's just small things like being able to wake up in the morning, being able to breathe, being able to function like a normal person is a small win. Imagine if you couldn't do that, then you couldn't do all the big things.
That's right.
So it's just a reminder for people to celebrate the small wins because they're the most important. And then, of course, June, Late Arrival. It was a remake of Late Arrival, but the story behind Late Arrival is better late than never.
Mm.
So even though you may have started something late, at least you did it, right?
That's right.
Just kind of like my journey. I thought I entered the industry too late. I thought I was
Mm.
too old when I entered the industry. I entered the industry when I was 24 years old. At times, I felt like,
Shoot,
am I too old?
I
You
was older.
know, true, true. But back then, that was
Yeah.
my mindset. I thought, maybe I should have entered when I was younger, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it's like better late than never.
That's right.
It doesn't matter how old you are, at least you did it,
That's right.
right? And then in October, I released Your Energy. So Your Energy was, having two different energies coming together. Energy is a word that's always used, especially when it comes to building connections with people and
Right. You gotta
building
have good
relationships. Oh,
energy.
that person has good energy.
You got good
I love your
energy.
energy, right? And the song was literally just having these two energies combined. You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know what's gonna expect, but it feels good,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then we come to day to day. Now, day to day is about trusting the timing of your life. And throughout my journey, I've had to trust the timing of my life big time.
Mm. Mm.
And it's just, a reminder that we may not have all the answers in life, but, we just have to trust the path that God has us on, you know, and that's just how it is. We have to have faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen.
Evidence of things not
So we
seen.
may not see it, but if we have the faith, like a
Mm-hmm.
mustard seed, right? Things can happen. And we have to trust the timing. Like, not everything is going to happen when we want it to happen.
Right.
Sometimes we feel like you have to rush life. And I've been guilty of trying to rush life, just like anybody else. But I had to take a step back and really be like, you know what? I need to take my time. I need to be patient. I'm getting older and, I'm not young anymore. But also, it's important to trust the timing. We have to have faith. There's been times where, I've doubted myself and,
Mm.
I'm like, oh my goodness, why is this not happening for me? I've been guilty of, looking at other people and being like, oh, how come it's happening for them and not happening for me?
Right.
I'm sure we've all been guilty of doing that.
I've all been
And
guilty.
yeah, so that song was the most important because, throughout my journey as a musician and as somebody who's bringing something different to the industry, I've had to trust the timing of everything. And some things aren't necessarily meant to happen early, they have
That's
to
right.
happen later on. You have to go through things and you have to learn tough lessons in order
That's
for
right.
good things to happen.
That's right. That was good because that kind of gave us a whole perspective and a whole picture of how they all fit with one another. Excuse me, and how it kind of tells your story. But yes, I had a chance to listen to Day to Day, and I thought it was phenomenal. It started off with a nice piano, and then of course, what's his name? Mark. Is it Mark?
Marcus.
Yeah,
Marcus.
Marcus. I can't pronounce the last name, but yes,
Mark really
Marcus
is.
was okay. uh, and then I like how he had a piece, and then the rest of it was instrumental. I was like, oh, I like that. Right. So you're still giving the beginning was the piano, that he comes in, and then the rest of it is instrumental. Right. And so it kind of fit people who want to hear some words. Cool. There you go. You got words. But everybody else who wants
Yep.
to hear the instrumental, you got the rest of that. Um, and I always just find it's just interesting the story behind songs themselves, because we hear so many different songs, but we really don't know the story behind them. And it's always intriguing for me to hear those types of stories. I feel like I got something in my throat. I don't know what's going on. So give me one quick second.
Okay.
Okay, there we go. I think it's out. I think maybe. Um, but yeah. So people can go and check your music out on uh, all the streaming platforms. Your YouTube page, of course. Your music videos on your YouTube page. I heard the song on your YouTube page, of course. I think I'm subscribed to you anyway. But um, but yeah, I mean, I thought the song was great. But once again, like I said, there's always a story behind why we create the music that we create. So not a pun either, right? Just there's we create music. Never mind. But um, well, man, I got a whole bunch of other questions.
Ask away.
So so let's talk about music hype beast and how you.
Yes.
So when I went to the site, boom, there was Desiree right there. Wow. All right. So once again, people want to be on these types of platforms. So how did that
Yeah.
come about? How did you get involved with Music Hype Beast?
Well, you know what? They wrote a piece on me last year. I'm not sure when, but they wrote an article about me. And honestly, I didn't even know that they were going to make me the face. It wasn't until the CEO hit me up and said, Here you go, check the page. And I was like, okay, check the page, and I see my picture there, and I'm like, okay, wow. It was kind of a shock to me, just like, it was a shock to everybody else that's probably seen it.
Mm.
But again, I just believe that's just been an accumulation of, my branding and just who I am as a person, and I guess the connection that I've built, and just my presence, and the fact that they believe that I represent something that a lot of artists are after.
Yeah. Yeah. Once, like I said, it goes back to what I said earlier about that authority,
Yeah.
about that influence, and so people
Yeah.
see the connection and what you bring to the table. So yeah, because most websites and things like that don't just put people up on their website to be the face of their own brand and what they represent. And so to
Yeah.
be able to do that speaks volumes to your own skill set, and it speaks volumes to who you are as a music creative, because everybody don't get stuff like that. So that just don't happen. But
Yeah.
yeah, music hype. I was like, oh, look at this, music hype beast. So, so yeah, that's always good. But I have two more questions for you. Uh, the this question is, and it came from your bio. And
Hmm.
in your bio, it says your music combines a unique mixture of faith, soul, vulnerability, divine balance, and matchless euphoria. Can you explain those terminologies that are used, and why those are significant? Because I want to know more about divine balance. Me, I want to know more about that
You
one.
know,
Like, what does that mean, divine balance? So I'll let you take it away from there.
well, let's see. The person who wrote this wrote it in an article,
Mm,
and I was presently surprised because a lot of what he wrote is actually true. I mean, the divine part, I mean, is just a part of my faith, and just the ability to connect with God in my music. I've been
mm.
told by multiple people that my music brings healing,
Wow.
right? I've heard this from multiple people. Example, I had an artist, his name is Isma. He's from Puerto Rico, but he lives in the U.S. And he asked me to do an acoustic version for one of his songs, and he just wanted keys. And I said, sure, no problem. So he sent me off over the vocals, and I came up with something that I thought was fitting, and I sent it back to him. And he sent me a message on Instagram, and he said he was in tears. And I said, how come you're crying? And he said, you know what? I had to listen to your song. I couldn't wait until I got home. And I was just crying, and I was just bawling. And,
Mm,
it was just so healing to me. And, your music is so healing, and just it brings healing to just situations. And I never really took it in at first, because this isn't the first time I've heard this. But even for myself, when I'm going through hard times, and even when I'm not, like, not well in body, my first resort is to go sit in front of my piano and start playing. And I don't know what it is, but thank you, Lord, for the gift. uh it's just, I feel his presence around me, and just the healing
mm,
that everybody keeps saying, I feel it for myself. And that's probably what people hear when they listen to my music, because again, this isn't the first time I've heard this
right.
come up. Soul, I mean, I'm a Toronto girl, uh for life, and I go hard for my city, and people
Let's
see that
go.
I go hard for my and I go hard for people. And I just have this desire for Toronto to just become better, whether that's in the industry of just supporting people better, and us really coming together, especially in the Black community.
Right.
So just having that Toronto soul, but also I'm a soulful person as well too. Like, I have a lot of passion. I'm very passionate about what I do. I don't just do this just because I'm good at it. I do it because there's an end goal. You know, I'm trying to inspire a generation, the current generation and future generations.
Mm.
As I tell people often, I don't care about the followers. I don't care about the likes. I don't care about being famous. I don't care about being in the spotlight. Unfortunately,
Right.
because of what I do, I am in the public eye, but I don't really care about it that much. People often tell me, how come you don't have more followers? And I said, well, Jesus only had 12 followers and he was very influential with the 12 followers that he had,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you have all these people following you, which is probably mostly bots, who from there is really being impacted by what you're doing, right?
That's
You can
right.
have hundreds of thousands of followers, millions of followers, but how many people are actually impacted by what you're doing? How many
Mm-hmm.
people are you, how many lives are you affecting? How many lives are you changing?
Mm.
At the end of the day, it's for me to see like who's inspired, who's being impacted, who's seeing a change, who am I able to affect in a positive way,
That's right.
right? And that's my passion. Now, the euphoria, I feel like that comes from maybe my presence. It could be the way that I create my music, maybe. I've been told that my music is very out of this world, not of this world. It's very like outworldly, like universe.
Mm.
Haven't, I don't know. But I just feel like it's very different to the point where it puts people in a different space, in a
Right.
different headspace. It comes across as if it's not of this world.
Mm.
And I mean, it's crazy because, the Bible talks about not being of this world, but being transformed by the renewing of your mind. So I'm not surprised that, people would think that, my music is not of this world because, it really isn't, especially, being, somebody who has a personal relationship with God. A lot of, you know, my passion comes from that, and my faith is a part of my music. And not only that, I want to make sure that, I'm able to reach as many people as I can, which is why, I went in this direction in the first place when it came to music, because I didn't want to just appeal to one, group of people. I wanted, everybody to gravitate to it
Mm.
in however way they need to gravitate to it. Right now, my music is not for everybody, which is okay. I'm totally okay with that. But whoever it is for is inspired,
That's right.
right? So
Yes. So
I explained that.
that's right. That's a lesson right there. It's because your music is not going to be for everybody, no matter who you are. Right? Like people know they watch the show. I love J Cole. He's one of my favorite artists, but not everybody like J Cole. A lot of people hate J Cole. And I'm like, are you crazy? Are you out your mind? But once again, not everybody's music is for everybody, and that's
Mhm.
okay. That's okay. Music is subjective. You know, you're gonna like it. You're not gonna like it. But for those who do like it, as you said, let it be a blessing and let it impact the lives of those people. So, but yes. No, I just thought it was curious how it was described, and I was like, divine balance. What does that mean? Like, I'm going to have to
You'd have
find
to ask the
out.
person who wrote it.
Hey, where are you, person? Like, what is divine? Like, no, but I just thought that was divine balance. Like, okay, I like the wording, the word choice, in that, and I love your explanation of each of those different terminology that was there. Um, but kind of summed up in your own words who you are as a music creative. So, last question. Well, like last question, right? Is I'm sure as with all music creators, yourself in uh, at this particular moment, because that's what we're talking about. Uh, you yourself have had your own types of life challenges or music challenges this year. So, what will be some things that you learned that other people can grab hold of and you know use in their own music careers to make them better, effective?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing that I learned this year was learning to address all of the trauma and triggers in my life. Now, you don't hear that a lot from musicians, right? You don't hear that a lot from creatives. But, in this pandemic time, um, mental health, self care has been quite a theme in my life specifically. And especially last year is when it really reared its head wide open. And I really had to learn how to deal and to work through those things, things that stem from my childhood, things that, stem from, my teenage years, my 20s, and addressing those things and being self aware, but also learning to, take care of myself as well, too. This pandemic has been hard on everybody. It's been hard on me. Um, Most definitely, especially my mental health. But it really taught me how to, I guess, manage and deal and talk about things because I've been somebody who, I'm not very open about my personal life just because, like, I just don't
Yeah,
trust
no,
people.
right.
But but at the same time, mental health is so important. It's an important topic, especially in the Black community. And I
Hmm.
don't think that it is something that has been spoken about, especially in the music community,
Right. No,
right?
you're right.
Amongst musicians, right? And to be honest with you, musicians go through the most in the industry. And it's crazy that we don't have a network of musicians that can come together and like really discuss those things
Hmm.
because there's so much that's expected of us in the industry, in the church. In the church, a lot is expected of us, and I don't think people understand the toll that it takes on us mentally. And I saw the toll that it took on me mentally, and how I never really took care of myself the way that I really needed to take care of myself, especially being a musician. I'm always on the go, I'm doing so much things. And sometimes it's important to just take a step back and just really breathe, take a break, right? I mean, life is too short to not take care of yourself, right? And it's so important to have those moments where, you're making self care a priority. Well, that's taking care of your mental, emotionally, physically, spiritually, taking care of those things because it's so important. And I just learned, that it's okay to take a break. It's okay to pause. It doesn't mean that life is going to stop and that, opportunities are going to stop. It's just sometimes you need to take that break and really address those things that may cause us to, have these, mental hardships, right? And I finally chose to address those things and work through them. I'm a very self-aware person, and I, going through a process of healing and
Mm.
really focusing on myself because it's important, and it has changed me for the better. You know, and I think it's important for us, especially as musicians, to talk about these things because I know there's plenty of musicians who just don't have a safe space
Plenty.
to discuss mental health. And
Right.
I think it's important in the musician community that we create safe spaces for people to, discuss their struggles mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically,
Mm.
and you know, we all need to heal together at the end of the day.
That's right.
And it's important to have those spaces. And if I can be, somebody who is like, listen, I've struggled with mental health, I've struggled with self care. I'm gonna do that. And it's funny that you brought that up because my new single that's coming out next week, Wednesday, speaks a little bit on my self care journey.
Mm.
It's called Comfortable, and it's just a reminder for myself to be okay with who I am because I'm constantly changing, I'm constantly learning, and it's important to love myself better than how I have been treating myself because I've been treating myself very well in
Mm.
the past. And it's important to, pour that love back into yourself. So all the love and the energy that you pour into other people, and you neglect yourself and you don't give yourself the same love that you give other people, it shows and it can
That's right.
affect you. So it's now I'm taking all that energy and that love that I've poured into everybody else and I'm pouring it back into me
That's right.
and
That's right.
being okay with who I am because I know that, I'm going through a process and that I'm constantly changing, I'm constantly growing, I'm constantly learning, and I have to be okay with who I am as a person. I have to just accept certain flaws that I've seen as, detrimental. I have to be okay with them. Being a
Mm,
sensitive person, I'm very sensitive and I'm okay with being sensitive. I'm picky. I'm okay with being picky. There once was a time I wasn't okay with being picky and I wasn't okay with being sensitive. But
mm.
in this new journey that I'm going through, I have to be okay with it. And I am.
Yes.
So,
Yes. Cool. Another one. Yes. Because you have to be okay with it, right? And a lot of times, if people are not okay with it, then they go through whether it's changing themselves or regressing back in those behaviors that kind of leads to some of those mental health type of issues. I mean, but you're right. There really isn't any type of safe space where music creatives can go and kind of have those conversations. Um, I found myself because I work at a healthcare organization. Uh, I found myself sometimes on interviews we talk about it because I understand that it is a very prevalent thing that happens within this music space that many people don't talk about. And I'm sitting here getting ideas for May because May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I don't know if anybody
yeah.
knows that, but it is. And so I may do something in May. We'll see how that comes along. Because in my organization, there are people that I work with and or that I used to work with that are behavioral health specialists, and so they specialize in mental health and things like that. And so I may reach out to them and we'll see how this
Yeah.
May is going to happen. Um,
Yeah. I think that would be really
look,
good.
my head
That's
is twirling. There may be something coming, so I may do that. We'll see. But
okay.
oh my gosh, Desiree, we have been talking for a while. Did I miss anything?
Well,
Yes,
us
you know.
you never brought this up. Uh, the wonderful world of TikTok. I don't know if
Oh,
you.
yes. Talk about that. Go. I'll leave it up to you. Yes. I'm.
So I was, and I'm going to be honest, I was anti TikTok. I really was. Um, when TikTok came out in the midst of the pandemic in 2020, because everybody was locked away in their houses and needed things to do, so I guess TikTok just decided to come out. Now, I never really got with TikTok in the very beginning because, as you know, I'm trying to upkeep all of my other social media platforms, and it's just another social media platform that I have to upkeep, and it's a lot sometimes. So I was on there. I got it in 2020, just like everybody else, trying to do all the dances, all the new dances that this generation has out, and I'm not really
You up there
that
like,
great of a dancer. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And then I just kind of let it fall off the wayside because I just didn't really care for it that much. So I
Mm.
deleted it off my phone and I was focusing on Instagram. And then my Instagram account got hacked in June and I had to restart. And yeah, and then Instagram has just been very wonky these days, especially with the algorithm. Wow, I can't even talk. The algorithms. So I was
Instagram.
like, okay, whatever. Let me build my page back. Cool, no problem. Then my friend messaged me out of the blue and she's like, Desiree, you need to go back on TikTok. I was like, why? She said, trust me, just go back on TikTok. I said, okay.
Mm.
I sat with it for a few months and I said, you know what? Okay, fine. Let me go put it back on my account. So April last year, I downloaded it back. And because my account got hacked on Instagram, what I did was I took some of the content from there and I would post it on TikTok just to kind of, see what kind of response I would get.
Mm.
So I got a few views here and there, a little 200, 300, 400 views. I was like, okay, cool. No problem. This is what I normally get on Instagram. So it was like, hey, whatever. And I think I had like 105 followers at the time. And in January of this year, I posted a video. It was like a video that I posted because I was listening to a song by Israel and New Breed. And I got inspired to just create something just based off that song that I was listening to. And I posted it in mid January. And I kind of just left it alone, closed the app because I wasn't really on the app like that, even though I was. posting all these different videos. So in February, I just so happened to be, on TikTok, and I decided to check my page. And that video that I posted in January went from, I think, 350 views to 1,000 views, and then 1,000 views to 5,000 views, and then 5,000 views to 10,000 views, to now, today, it has a total of almost 70,000 views
It's
in
yeah,
3 months.
look. While you over there talking, I'm like, oh, look at
And my
it.
following went from 105 followers to now almost 10,000 in
Show me
three
the way.
months.
Show me the way.
And yeah, I was really shocked because I did not expect that to happen, right?
Hmm.
So I said, okay, let me see if I can get these same numbers again. Because I'm a teacher, I decided to do tutorials, because on that video that I posted, people were like, "Oh, can you show me how to do this? Oh, can you do a tutorial on this?" So I said, "Okay, fine. Let me give people what
Mm-hmm.
they want." So I did a tutorial on suspensions. The views were good on there. I have a couple of those suspension videos are probably at 10, 11,000 right now. So I said, okay, cool. So I teach private lessons, and one of my students out of the blue asked me, "Desiree, can you show me some shout music?" Now, anybody that knows me knows me. I don't like shout music. I don't like playing it. I think it's overrated, and I just don't like it.
Mm.
Right? And I've never seen the reason for it. But anyways, I showed him a couple of things just from what I remember, and he was like, "Yo, this is good." And I was like, "Okay." And then I sat with it for a few moments, and I was like, I don't like doing this, but let me do a series on shout music. So I
Right.
posted part one. Part one did pretty well. Got about 7,000 views. I was like, okay. Then I said, okay, let's do part two. Posted part two. Brian, no word of a lie. I posted part two. In 19 hours, I got 20,000 views.
Teach me the way. Teach me the
That
way.
video today is on the verge of 50,000.
Show me the way.
Show me the way. Okay,
Teach me.
well,
Teach me,
the
Sensei.
first the first video that I posted, you know how these platforms are like really big on hashtags and using the right hashtags and all that?
Mm-hmm.
The original video that I posted, I never used any TikTok hashtags. That's the joke.
Mm.
So it must have been I posted at the right time. Or no, well, I posted it like earlier, but I guess it got
Right.
the For You page, or whoever saw it, somebody saw it, and just it blew up from there.
Mm.
But what I realized is using the right hashtags, and also getting on the For You page. So that's the famous TikTok
Mm-hmm.
hashtag is For You page FYP, because that's where everybody goes to see all the
Ah,
videos.
okay.
So I would use those hashtags in addition to, reaching gospel musicians, church
Mm-hmm.
musicians, and using those type of hashtags as well too. So I have 3 videos right now, combined almost 200,000, and I'm at almost 350,000 views combined in 3 months.
Wow. That's because at this moment, Instagram sucks. Like,
Yeah.
sucks. And
And
so,
in addition to that,
sucks.
I booked 6 new piano clients
Ooh.
because of TikTok.
Yeah, see, that's awesome. Okay, the power of TikTok. Maybe I need to go back and revisit TikTok because Desiree is doing amazing on TikTok. I may need to go back and look at TikTok. I mean, but I do
So
interviews and stuff. I got to figure out
I'm
what I
encouraging
don't know.
people to use it. And for you, like, you're doing your interviews, even if you just post like a snippet of it and post it
Yeah,
on TikTok.
I did, but they didn't get a lot of views. That's why I kind of got like, eh. Like, so look, so I can go here now, while we're on this interview, right? And I can go to my TikTok page. And the last video got 305. I posted one, it got 7. I was like, you know. Then I got discouraged. So right now I have let me see. I don't even know how many videos. Is how many videos you got up here? I don't know. But I was like, okay, maybe TikTok isn't for me. So I might go back to Instagram, right? So
Right.
I'm gonna go back to TikTok. I'm gonna maybe that's something I should do. Maybe I should just use TikTok for like 3 months solid and just see what happens. And don't post on
Yeah.
Instagram. Just go right for TikTok. So
Yeah.
I'm
It's and that's
I'm gonna
so
do that.
funny. As we speak, that same Shout music video just hit 50,000.
Look at that. Come on, come on, y'all. Come on, y'all. Like, yeah, Instagram can.
Yeah, it's so funny because I had my other page. I really worked hard on that page. 8 years
Mm-hmm.
worth of work went into that page, and then I had to restart, which was fine. I post my stuff on there. I did post one video recently of a cover that I did of a JoJo song, and JoJo happened to be on tour, and JoJo so happened to see the video, and JoJo liked it and reposted it in her story, and it got
Oh
thirty
yeah.
thousand views.
Oh yeah. See.
So
Yeah. See, that's awesome. Thank you,
yeah,
JoJo, for doing that.
yeah,
Good job,
yeah. So
JoJo.
that was very nice of her. I really appreciated that because.
That's right.
But honestly, ever since I went back on TikTok, my TikTok is kind of lit right now,
I
and
see.
it's like I get followers every day. I get new followers every
Mm.
day. So it's not like I got the 60 something thousand and it stopped. No, it's still going to now. I'm trying to figure out how to monetize, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'm also trying to hit 500,000
Mm.
very soon.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna use TikTok straight for 3 months and just
yeah,
go
do it.
and see what's going on because Instagram is getting on my nerves. So.
But I mean, also, I had TikTok for since April, and I didn't start seeing these numbers until earlier this year.
Wow.
So
Oh yeah, I've had
yeah,
TikTok for a minute and never really used it. So, like, yeah, we'll see. People get on TikTok. Yeah, whatever. We'll but
I was the same way.
I'm
I
gonna
was the
commit
same way.
myself to that 3 months and let's see what happens. So,
Yeah,
but man, that's exciting. That's super exciting. Like I said, a year can change a lot of different things for a lot of different people. So, kudos to you, Desiree, for all the things that's happening in your life. I'm looking forward to what's happening next. So, question: what can we
yeah.
expect next?
Well, you can expect the new single "Comfortable" out next week, Wednesday, April 27th, featuring Macklin. He's a R&B soul artist from Virginia, I believe.
Hey, VA is in the building.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm from
yeah.
Virginia,
So
so
connected on Instagram last year, and we did like a little collab and posted it on TikTok and all that. And then he was like, "Yeah, I would love to work with you on some stuff." And I said, "Sure, no problem." So when I was working on whatever I was gonna do this year, I'm kind of just going with the flow this year. I'm trying to not put deadlines on things anymore.
mm-hmm.
Um, but I had this idea, and I can't believe I'm sharing this idea because I'm
Uh
not
oh,
supposed to share it yet. That's okay.
don't share
I'm
it
gonna do
then.
it anyways
Nah, nah,
because
don't do it.
no. I'm
Oh,
going
okay.
to because I'm sure the people have been waiting. Um, I had this idea to put out a little mini documentary series on
Nice.
my a little bit of my self care journey, right? And that's coming later on this year, so stay
Mm.
tuned for that. And then I also had a few songs that I've just been sitting on, and I thought, why don't we just put out a little mini something something,
Let's do it.
right? So basically, it's just gonna be something that gives people a little bit of insight on my self care journey, and really
Nice.
sharing that part of myself as an artist and as a musician because I know it's important, you know, because that's kind of the phase that I'm in right now. I'm healing from childhood wounds, trauma,
Mm-hmm.
triggers, and all that stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
learning to love myself better. So
That's right. Good.
this song is special to me, and you can listen to the preview. There's a little preview on my page on Instagram. You can listen
Oh
to it
yeah.
there. But yeah, it's supposed to be airing actually in the UK next week. And it's also going to be airing in the Netherlands a couple days after the release as well,
Nice.
because some of the radio stations out there were nice enough to do a little pre song pre release, and then
Heck yeah,
also
that's
still
awesome.
stream. So yeah, if you haven't pre-saved it, you should probably go do that. The link is in my bio.
It's in the
Pre-save.
bio. Go
And
do that
also,
today.
you know, y'all can help me get on the iTunes charts by actually purchasing it when it comes out.
That always helps, right? We support people. We purchase music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's right. We independent. You know, I mean, I'm sure you're gonna go buy Drake's album, right? I just said that because he's from Toronto, but I'm saying you're gonna. I know,
Rocket
but,
Drake
like
like
y'all gonna
that.
buy Drake's album, so
He gets Spotify streams.
you know,
Yeah.
help out your homegirl right here. I'm just saying, you're gonna buy Drake's album, help out Desarae Dee too. You know what I mean? Like,
I
come on now,
mean, it's
let's
the one
go, let's
song.
do it.
$29. I mean,
Stop playing
that can't
around, let's
even buy
do
you
it.
a coffee anymore. But you know,
Great, but y'all gonna buy that Drake album though, right?
facts.
$29.99. But anyway,
Mm-hmm.
but so Desarae Dee, where can people find you? How can they connect with you and check out your music?
They can connect with me on all social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok. Yeah,
TikTok.
TikTok is blowing up right now. So I mean, if you wanna, hop on TikTok and check out my tutorial videos, I've got more coming. I've got a few. Finishing up my shout series. I got part 5 coming out this week, and then I started a new series called Church Service Progressions. So
Uh-oh.
progressions that you can use during church service. So yeah.
And all your fingers be like this.
I know
That's
they'd
right.
be like all up here and like this and like that.
Because church piano players be having fingers, they be like, I'm like,
I know,
how your
right?
fingers, how your pinky stretch way over there to hit the.
I know. People
Like, yeah,
ask
but
me all the
anyway,
time, how are you stretching that far? I'm like, lots of work, guys.
that's some work. There's some bones in there. They, what y'all don't really know. They secretly go, they dislocate all of them, and then they go up there and like, yeah, because man, I don't know how they be doing it, but they fingers extendo.
I know.
It is what it is. But cool, Desarae, if you can hold on for one moment, it was great chatting with you again. Stick around for 1 second while I close this out.
All right.
All right, one moment. Ladies and gentlemen, man, y'all give it up for Desarae Dee. As I always say, make sure you go support indie music creatives. We are the lifeblood for each other. We are what keep each other alive, right? Y'all keeping Drake alive and J. Cole. And I love J. Cole, right? But still, support indie artists, right? We need all of you. Support what we're doing here at We Create Music TV. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on the notification bell to get notified when we drop new content. Give us a thumbs up, right? If you like the content, if you like this interview, give us a thumbs up. That helps us to promote us on this YouTube platform, which is a beast in and of itself. But it helps us to be in the face of other music creatives so that they can get this information as well. But I want to say thank you very much for tuning in once again. You can always catch our interview series every Monday and every Thursday at 7 p.m. right here on We Create Music TV. Check out the website, wecreatemusic.tv as well. You can find some additional master classes and things like that on our channel and on our website. But thank you very much for tuning in. Greatly appreciate all of you. We're out. Peace. Peace. Yes. Just thumbs up. That's peace. Okay. Bye. Oh, I hit the wrong button.